wanted to retain that involvement and saw it as a positive, not a negative. But then it goes down to how far you want the control and have the fans there.
I think also, Nigel, you know, we made it obvious with one of the previous deals that never took place, that we as a trust are quite willing to negotiate with anybody that wants to put decent investment into this club that we feel would be good for the club. And just so that you're aware, we did not feel that Kirby would be good for the club. But we would always talk to the people that are liable to put any investments into Carlisle United. And if it was the right investment with the right people, I don't think you'll find that the trust will be a problem.
Okay. Any more questions?
You had a question, yeah.
And one, this chap here.
I just wanted to ask, with our new stadium size, I'll throw Doncaster in as an example. They have a lot and Scunthorpe. They have a lot of business around the ground and a lot of like fast food restaurants that fans can use. I remember when I was at primary school years ago, in our last project Blue Yonder that never worked, we went to Kingmoor Park where the stadium was meant to be to suss out what potential outlets would be on the site. Like they were looking at, I'll give you an example of what I remember, putting fast food restaurants in and like putting a Marston's pub in. Do we have any sort of negotiation talking about like any business going on any new sites potentially at all?
I think that's a usual way. It's a common way that many stadiums have. They become multi-use. There's lots of things on it: bars, fast food, sometimes hotels, sometimes even cinemas. And part of that was all what was envisaged for Kingmoor Park, primarily because that helps pay for it. So I think, as I would see it, for any scheme to get away that involves a new ground, that things like that have to be part and parcel of it, otherwise it won't work.
I think the thing is, when we had a meeting with the council not so long ago about the new stadium, I did mention to the officials that were there, and I would like to come down to Barnet with us, because Barnet is a prime example of what I would like for Carlisle United. You know.
In the conference next season.
If you've never been to Barnet, you don't know what I mean. Forget about. Right. So what Barnet have got is the stadium. Well, it's a 2,000 to 20,000, but it's the facilities. They've got 6 grass pitches, and they've got quite a number of 7G pitches. Now we can get that anywhere, whether it's junction 36 or it's a junction 45. It could be anywhere. But I mean, our costs when we hire the various sites that we use, cost us quite a lot. I mean, we use Crichton, and whether they like it or not, Crichton costs us quite a lot of money. Again, we gave Keith something that we've never had before. Fantastic facilities, training facilities, food facilities. But if we can get 6 grass pitches, what we could use for the youth leagues, for the men's leagues, the 7G pitches that they've got, that generate income. I mean, there's been talk in the past of making Bluntton Park, put a 7G pitch out there, like Annan, and as soon as the game finishes, people are playing on it, which fetches income. That's what happens in Scotland. A lot of the pitches are 7G or whatever they call them now. That's one of the since we started.
Capacity stadium, though, or a 10,000 capacity stadium, because we're not a Barnet. We are not a Barnet.
No, I think
it isn't the stadium. The stadium, a new stadium, whether it's 5,000, 20,000.
You said 2,000.
No, I didn't. I says Barnet. If you go to Barnet, there's a stadium, and the stadium's not the issue. Believe me, the stadium's not the issue. You build the stadium, whatever size you think you can afford, or you can build a 20,000 like Doncaster, and there's 5,000 in it. And I think the council built Doncaster Stadium, so you have to be careful.
We've got 93 and we get
Well, whatever. But if we have the facilities, you're there. You know, you've got to build on it, you've got to make it a community hub. And that's what we try and do.
We've got a question at the back here. So, a question for Nigel. You mentioned that we've got to find the balance in whether we spend on facilities or whether we spend on the club, on the team. If we spend more on the team, we spend less on the facilities, vice versa. If we increase the income, surely we can increase both. This chap here at the back asked a question at the start of the night, and he mentioned that he was in a group of 10 or 12 people that used to come down every season. I was the same. 10 years ago, there'd be 10 of us, all season ticket holders. Now I'm the only season ticket holder in the group of 2. You get another 2,000 people coming down. They said $500,000 a season, is it not? What are you going to do to get those 2,000 people? People that I used to come down with that don't come anymore, do you know that they're not coming? Have you got any system that tells you that they're not coming anymore? Have you tried to get them back? If you get those 2,000 people back, surely that's your difference.
The systems that we have tell us which season ticket holders do and don't renew, and at the end of during the season ticket selling period, we try our best to try and get them to renew if they haven't done. So we have that information. The point that you make about getting more people to come, I agree. It's how we go about doing it. What I'm trying to promote here is a discussion as to why that isn't the case, and that's why I've been listening to what you guys have been saying, and then what we can do to change the views of people. Because there's no doubt about it, as Jim says, there's a proportion of people who feel they don't want to come down anymore, and we've got to change their minds now.
Do you know who they are? Did you try and contact them? It's all well and good trying to change our views in here, but we're coming down still. These are 2,000 people who don't care anymore. They've walked away.
Yeah, we can only contact those who we know. You see what I mean? And what I'm saying is the information that we've got is what people have bought tickets from. That's all we've got to go on. That's the information that we have. So again?
3 years.
Yeah, and we've got that system's been in place for 3 years. So beyond that, that is what we're working with. That is what we're working with. So that's how much we know about who we can contact.
Could you not ask some of these people that have maybe not come back, offer them a free game, just as a gesture? I mean, even if they complain about that.
Can you not offer these people that have not come back, offer them a free game or something? Just one game. You know, if they don't come back after that, then you've tried. Some of them might stay. You know, just promote it. Try and promote the club. It's all reactive. It's not proactive. You know, other companies would do it. Other lines of business would give you, like betting companies give you free bets, things like that. And it might all be tied in to drag you in, but isn't that what we're trying to do here? Isn't it trying to drag people in? You know?
Absolutely. Absolutely, we want to try and get people to come and support the club. If you think that's a good idea, well, maybe that's something we should try. Well, nothing ventured, nothing gained.
Better off having somebody sitting in the stand. You know, if the seat's empty.
No, absolutely. One thing we have got is plenty of empty seats. I mean, so it doesn't. It's not like some places where you pay a rent if you let somebody in. We don't have that. We don't have that issue. Maybe that's something that we could try and see how it works.
Another one in the corner.
What's your plan to fund the new ground? Where's the money coming from?
Say again?
What's the plan to fund the new ground? Where's the money coming from?
Well, the money to fund the new ground could only come from an enabling development.
Right, but last time the council threw that out, didn't they? Up at Kimberley Park, and like from their view, quite rightly, their primary interest is the city, and having a shopping outlet up there, similar to Gretna, would damage the city centre. So you can see from their point of view why that was. Would you say that's proved a good decision? what the...
To not do the stadium and back the
No,
city centre.
I'm
Would you
just
say that's because you just said you just said that you kind of backed that.
No, the city council, the county council, their primary interest is the city. It isn't the football club. They are interested in that, but their primary interest is the city centre. So you can see why.
Yeah, but why?
They didn't want a shopping outlet there, and then make the city centre like a ghost town.
But what I'm saying is, do you think by doing that it hasn't made the city centre a ghost town, and the city centre's better now than it would have been?
Of course.
Yeah.
No.
That's a silly question.
I'm not asking. I'm asking his opinion.
I'm not saying the city centre's great, but
better than it would have been.
if a shopping arcade like it turned up there, it would be half as good. You know, it'd be dead by now. But like going back to the original question, if the city council or the county council won't grant like a new retail outlet, what's your plans to fund a new ground? Is there a plan B or?
Well, this is part of the process. This is the part of the process that we're going through now. That's exactly it.
Mm.
Going to speak to the council and saying how far will you go, if at all.
So why do you think the council will accept this scheme after knocking back the previous scheme?
Well, they might form the view that having a football club that has a viable future in a stadium that the city can be proud of, with all the ancillary stuff around it, can be a good vehicle to regenerate and help development of the city, and be good for the city, because the football club is part of the city, and obviously the council's developing the swimming pool and putting 19 million or something into that. So clearly it wants to see sporting facilities that are good.
That's taken 20 years now.
Well, whether it's taking 20 years or not, they're actually doing it.
They're almost slower than the football club are doing things, so you know I wouldn't hold you back on that. That's what I'm asking. That's what I'm asking, Nigel. What's if the retail units like are knocked back, which it was last time? What's the fallback? What's the plan B?
I mean, it's proven practice for the clubs that have hospitals, private hospitals within them, hotels, cinema complexes, gyms. That it doesn't necessarily have to be shops. Has there been any interest in that sort of thing?
But they would still have an impact on the town. All those things would have an impact on the city centre.
Has there been any interest? Because I thought last time, was it 2 years ago, when the council moved onto Botchergate, that would be the perfect time to go in with the council. And like a Blackpool's got their county councils in their stands through the week, the offices. Would that have not been the perfect time to go in with the council? They can build a stand, you rent it off them, or you build a stand, they rent it off you. It seemed the perfect opportunity there.
There's opportunities come all along, and that kind of stuff it works. Is what other clubs have done. So that's another option as opposed to an out of town retail development. Yeah, you're right. That might affect the city centre as well, which is why you've got to have the council on board and supporting whatever you're going to do. Which is why we intend to speak to them now, knowing what we know from the investigations we've done. So you've got to gather the information and have a discussion, and then see where that takes you, based on the facts that you find.
You haven't spoken to them yet?
No, we have spoken to them. Yeah. So we spoke to them. They made some suggestions as to what we might do. We've been, and then they said, go away and do that, and then come back. So we've done what they suggested, and now we've gone away, and we're going to come back.
So what did you feel like the general, the positivity was of it, or?
It was a change of policy, wasn't it? You said there are some changes in policy that could help.
Yeah, they want the football club to prosper. They want to play their part in it, but they've got mountains. They've got mountains.
What's your general feeling from the council?
Pardon?
What's your general feeling from the talks with the council?
Well, that's what I'm saying. That they want the club to prosper. They want to play their part in doing it, but they haven't got mountains of cash because they're getting cuts themselves. So they'll do all they can, but don't expect them to be a big benefactor. Now, what that actually means when you get down to the nitty-gritty, it's politicians, so you've got to discuss it and try and nail it down. But positive, they want to help. They don't want to see this the club in a stadium that's crumbling away with no way out. They want to try and help. So
that's sort of like, you know, they've also got the city centre like to look after, haven't they? So, you know,
well, that's what I said. Yeah, they've got their priorities. So it's got to work for both for us and them if they're going to get involved. But there's plenty of examples around the country of where that's worked.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's just Steve mentioned Barnet. It wasn't. I don't think he was trying to say we won a 2006 stadium or whatever. The principle he was trying to get across was that it was a community stadium where the football club and the local agencies work together to put some facilities that the community can be proud of and use. And that seems to be a pretty good idea because it works elsewhere. So why can't it work here?
Our council's slow, aren't they?
Pardon?
Our council's slow. Look how we've still got the sheep numbers. 3 years.
But we can't control that. All we can try and do is try and make it happen from our side, can't we? That means we've got to try and push it on from our side. But if we're, and again it goes around, I seem like I'm labouring the point over and over again. If as a club and as fans, when we're together saying this is what we need to happen, will you help? We've got far more chance of getting some support than if there's infighting and factions. It's just a fact. It's just a fact. So when I talk about getting things to change, and the way to get positive change is to actually work together towards it, not to keep anybody in a job or do anything. It's about to make the club better, which is what we all want, surely. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, but last time when Nixon criticised the council on the front page of the paper, that hardly helped.
But again, if there's one thing that I'd say to you, we need to look forward. Keep looking back to all these things that failed and didn't work, and all this history about what went wrong. Ain't going to solve any of these problems. None of them.
I was at the meeting with the council officers and the council leaders. I can tell you that the meeting was positive. The circumstances are very different to what they were last time, and it wasn't just about Carlisle wanted an enabling development, but it was also about one of the people that was the main part of that enabling development. Because don't forget, at that time the council were negotiating to build a big store outside of the centre of Carlisle, up Morton, and there was a conflict. So the circumstances have changed dramatically, and the council were supportive when we had the meeting with them.
Got a question in the corner, if you just want to move on.
Basically for Nigel again, saying that if you want to look forward, I think one of the things, or one of the best kept secrets at Carlisle was Phil King, the marketing manager. He was almost an anonymous person in a lot of people's views. For instance, not at any time did the club almost have a sellout Saturday, a big match, trying to really focus on getting the people into the ground, because we're playing Luton on Saturday. Apart from the loyal 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 will go, how many people in Carlisle actually know we're playing the second team in the league next Saturday? Should we not be looking at doing things like having a display in the lanes, asking the local farmers to put up signs saying 21, 4, 18, are you going? Get people to speak about things. I honestly never saw Phil King doing that. He was the best kept secret at Carlisle.
Point taken. Point taken.
I've got another one here. Hang on, I think you have your hand up.
Well, I hate speaking with Mike. I'm going to challenge the people, all of whom I know, right? And as chairman of Kiosk, I feel I've got a challenge. I'm not talking about promotion, I'm not talking about relegation, but I would like to think, or I'd like to ask, what would be success for your particular role in 12 months? And then I'll tell you what my particular success in 12 months would be as chairman of Kiosk. Billy.
What? I thought you were going to tell us what yours was.
No, mine's coming last.
All right, I see. I'd like the club to be...
not promotion, not relegation.
No. I'd like the club to be a happy place. I'd like the fans to enjoy coming back down here. I'd like there to be a buzz around the club, like we all said we shouldn't go back, but you can't forget the days when there was a buzz around the club. I would like it to be financially stable, and I'd like to think we had some new investment coming into the club.
Quite simple, really. More fan involvement. That's what I get out of tonight. More fan involvement. We've got the various bodies. There's 3 or 4 groups that work with the club. Let's put a working committee together, a working group together, or them that wants to come and help on match days. More than welcome.
Jim?
Yeah. Promotion. Yeah, promotion would be very nice.
No, nothing to do with promotion.
I want the place to, as Billy says, to be happier. I want us to find a way of embracing the fans, like people have said tonight, to be more communicative, to bring the vibe back. But it's a tough thing to do, but doing that would be brilliant if we could manage it. And also bring back the days when we had, eventually, Richard Procas and Darren Edmondson, and we had the affinity with local players. So that'll do for me for now.
Next.
12 months.
12 months.
Yeah, 12 months.
I don't know where to begin really. What I think this is really. I would. I think this. Just pass the mic on. No, this is actually really important. Actually, it's really important. Yeah.
It's a simple question.
I know it is, and I want to give the right answer. Right. What do I think I'd like to achieve? Actually, I think probably the best thing that can happen is that the fans realise that their interests are all the same, and that they're in same interests as the club as a whole. And if they want to move forward and get some change, that they need to work together, so that when the next time we meet, that rather than us talking about some of the small things, we're talking about the big things and moving on together. Because without that, we're just going to be sat here going through the same old. And that's what I want to see. I want to see everybody together for whatever reason, whether it's to run people out of town or because they're just, well, I don't know. But every one of us has got to come together for this club, because if you don't, then it ain't going to get any better, and it isn't going to get any better, honestly. No, of course it makes sense, because there's a conflict here. There's clearly people in various degrees who are unhappy, right? And unless we can change that, then, as everybody says, the gates are going to keep dropping. The club's going to lose more money, and we're going to be into the spiral that gentleman talked about. So that has to not happen. So that is my wish, and that'd be my achievement, to stop that happening. However it takes place, that's what is needed here.
Why is the conflict there, like in your view?
Why is the conflict there? I think time. I think, in my view, the world we live in wants things quickly. It doesn't like things staying the same. People get impatient, and it gets boring. So having the same old faces. Sorry, it's right. Having the same old faces around, it gets boring. People get bored of managers, get bored of players. So no, it's right. I'm trying to be honest. So people want different, and that's that. Different people bring a spark. Sometimes they bring it positively. sometimes they appear to be positive for a bit, and then it's a disaster. But in the good times, people remember it, so people don't like things being the same. And I think being in this league for a long time is a problem, because there's only certain times you want to see Cheltenham or Crawley. It gets boring. You don't want to do it. So even if you do nothing, the gates tail away. I've seen it all the time. So just by standing still, things get worse. So things have got to, you need that spark and that change constantly. And I think that is one of the reasons. So that's number one. Number two, I think there's a lot of baggage. There's mistakes that have been made, and I think there's no appetite to forgive at all or forget at all. As we've seen today, it's just dig up the bones again and give them another prod, put some more on, put some more. It doesn't actually get us anywhere, but that makes it difficult to move on.
Suzanne's chance.
Yeah.
Well, not from a business point of view, Suzanne.
So I think we need to celebrate more of the good things we do and the good things our staff do and our connected groups do. I think we need to increase the number of the good things we do. We need to improve on the matchday experience. We need to iron out these small issues that become big issues that everyone's got. And then in a year's time, I'd like to be doing some League One forecasts. Not linked to it.
Now then, Andrew, from an honest point of view, where do you want to be in 12 months?
Well, I want to see some success. You know, we've had it in the past, but we want to be together. I want to see financial stability, because that is a real nightmare. And I'll tell you it is. And the bigger people than me. But where the next wage bill's going to be paid, and that sort of stuff. So it's difficult, but we've got to somehow get some success, but at the same time get a bit more financial stability.
What made me think, I'm looking round here and listening, and there was one young voice who was a breath of fresh air to Kiosk, and obviously he had family, and young people have family and commitments, but we've a lot of old people around here, you know, a lot of old people. In 12 months, I'd love to be handed over to somebody else. You know, I'd absolutely love to be handed over. I'd love to be handed over with 1,500 kiosk members and just saying, take it on, go forward. But you look round and seriously, we're mostly quite an old bunch. Somehow we've got to encourage young people to come in here. Somehow we've got to get, not even that younger than him, you know, we've got to get young people in. That's what I want. That's what I'd love to be in 12 months' time. When people with vibrancy and excitement, and you know, so when Richard hit it, and you know, Richard, he's gone on there, but he said probably the most passionate speech of the night when he said, let's have a bit of passion, let's have a bit of enthusiasm. I'd love to be at a ground where there was enthusiastic, and I just sat back and remembered my youth. You know, just remembered how it used to be. And I could throw talk to
Oh, well, here you go. Sorry, I've spoken too much tonight, but this is my last question, and thank you to Mr. Jenkins and everybody for the very good answers. My question, have you budgeted how much a reserve team would cost to run per season?
Do you mean like an under-23 team or something?
No, a reserve team which is a bridge between the first team and the youth team. It keeps the people fit that aren't getting on the match day roster, and then the youth players can come through and get some bigger match experience.
Yeah, Suzanne says no, we can't afford it. Yeah, we've looked at it in general terms. You're talking something like £250,000. If you think you need I don't know, 8 to 10 players plus your main squad and minimum wage, even minimum wage, etc.
No, but using the people we already have, what is the marginal cost
of running a reserve team going to the match?
Well, we've got that's just for the players and trying to work around it. We haven't got enough players to do that, so there's no marginal cost. It's all trying to explain.
You'd have to increase the squad.
You have to increase the squad. Yeah, have to increase the squad, and that would cost on what an extra $250,000.
The big problem with the reserve side is it's not only down to the manager, but in the past when we've done the reserve side, you find that most of them are called off. You know, December called off, you know, January called off, February called off. And I can mind the last time in the reserve squad, where Dave Roos played, with Dolly playing, because we had to play about 7 or 8 games in the last week. You know, it just didn't work.
That bridge is a problem, though. You're right, and it takes investment to do it. Otherwise, the gap between someone coming out of an academy at 18 and going into a first team squad can be big. So it's not an easy one.
No, my idea was that could be an example of how we could all come together and fund something which is positive.
No, I think
benefit, but 250,000 is a lot of money, and I didn't know how much.
No, well, yeah, it's just yeah. I think it's great, and if you look at someone like Norwich, for instance, you might have seen it. Norwich, former Premier League team, Championship team, obviously 30,000 fans, whatever, lots of season ticket holders. They had an appeal to get funding to run an academy, to build an academy building. So these issues work right up and down run up and down the chain about how you get incremental money into development as opposed to your first team. Basically, it's a good point. I would love to. I think it's saved us well if we were able to build that transition, because it helps get players through.
I think we've got a really good youth manager now, and the lads came through our system, and they've got a link up now with Durham, haven't they? Where the players who haven't made it, say to Newcastle and the cast-offs, and they try and introduce them back into the game. So, you know, Darren and I'm looking forward to that, but it's just that interim, try and get them out to Workington and in places to get experience.
I think that's one more, have we?
Just a quick one.
Can you shout, or do you want me to come down?
You were talking about the expense of Crichton, using Crichton's pitch. Do you not think do you get enough use out of that training pitch over there? You've got the training pitch over there, you've got the changing facilities here. Why are you having to pay to go up to Crichton?
Because if we've got a youth game on, they can't change here and have the first team here as well. So it's when we've got a clash and the youth team are at home and the first team are at home, we don't have the facility, because of safeguarding issues. You can't have them under 18s changing anywhere where the men can be. So they need different changing areas. So that's why we use the Crichton.
How expensive?
Crichton's a really good facility. It's 25,000 a year we're paying. We were getting it free.
Yeah.
First team train there through the week, don't they?
Yeah, but they.
Why don't they train here?
Well, they do sometimes.
Ah.
They chop about because the pitches won't take. One pitch won't take it. So but it's a good facility, and it's a damn shame we can't find a sponsor, say, to sponsor Crichton, because they get fed up there and they're well looked after. You know, the players really appreciate it up there. And that's the way all the other clubs operate, so they want it here.
Any more questions before we start wrapping it up? I think the last one about where we want to be in 12 months was quite a good one to kind of more or less finish on, but unless there's